You know they've gone from not having a program to number 2 in the nation in just 11 seasons, but they have not played a big game as the Hunted. How will that work out against last year's Big East story? Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, glad to be with you on the Toyota College Football Preview. It's the game that'll have the nation's attention Thursday night in primetime. Number 2 South Florida at 2-loss Rutgers. And for more on the Big East battle, we bring in Spencer Tillman from Houston, as we do every weekend. Spencer, we've talked this season about how teams responding from big wins with a win the following week, how important that is, and South Florida has done that. This one's a little different, though, because they're on the road.
Well, in Piscataway, it's going to be a challenge, but I think if you look at them, you've answered the question already. Jim Levitz has his ball club positioned to respond well, mainly because of the way they're coached. They're a stable team. I've been talking to folks on the phone on Monday and Tuesday of this week, and you wouldn't have known that they're coming off a win because the attitude is so businesslike there, and I think that's going to serve them well in Piscataway this weekend. Meantime, they're going to get help from Rutgers because Rutgers has not been playing exceptionally well. I think they're suffering some hangovers from the success of a season ago. We made the statement that very few teams run well with a full cup of success. I think that's what we're seeing Rutgers struggle with right now.
We'll get more into their struggles in a sec because they also lost some key players. But as for South Florida, a guy that's been the catalyst is the quarterback. You know, he's being thrown around for the Heisman, Matt Grothe. Some people I read a few times this week have compared him to Doug Flutie, who, by the way, coincidentally, will be part of the broadcast crew on Thursday night. Yeah. Matt Grothe, Heisman candidate?
Well, first of all, he's a little taller than Flutie. He was about 5'9", and that's stretching it a little bit. But one thing that really sets him apart is he can run the football. Along with Tim Tebow, he's the only other quarterback in the FBS that is leading his team in rushing yardage. But he's one of those quarterbacks that can do a little bit of both, and so he causes nightmares for defensive coordinators because it's a balanced approach. And they don't necessarily need to have an outstanding runner to exploit you defensively. You've got to prepare, bring an extra man down in that box area to try to contend with him. So he's a special quarterback, but really it's their defense that sets this team apart, in my opinion.
It really is, Spencer. 21 takeaways so far on the season. Yeah. That's in 6 games. And if you look at Rutgers' 2 losses, they gave it away 7 times. Do you see that being a theme this weekend?
I see it being a big-time theme. You know, you talk about some of the players on that defensive side of the ball. George Selvey, first of all, he's leading the nation in sacks. I think he has 12.5, somewhere around there, and about 17 tackles for losses, and that's big time. You talk about some of the top defensive players at LSU. You've got a major one right there at South Florida, and I think he's going to get some consideration for one of the top defensive line in America before this is all over with. So it's the defense that's anchoring South Florida right now.
He really reminds you, at least in the way he plays, not so much in the way he looks, but the way he plays, of Elvis Dumerville from Louisville a couple years back. Going back a couple of years. Spence, you know, it's that defense that you're talking about being so dominant, but they haven't given up 100 yards to a running back in 14 games, but now they see Ray Rice. Does that change on Thursday night?
Well, you know, if he had Brian Leonard back in the lineup, it would change, but he's since playing for the Rams as a second-round draft pick. I think that's really what's hurt Ray Rice this year. He finally broke out against a team that they were supposed to beat. You know, but when you're down 14-0 to Syracuse, man, that doesn't tell me a whole lot. They had to go to the running game because that's what they do best. That's their ID. That's their identity. But I think Ray Rice, certainly out of the Heisman Trophy contention as far as I'm concerned, he'll do well, but he won't be the breakout player that they're hoping for the second consecutive week.
If South Florida can put the ball in the hands of Mike Teal and not Ray Rice, that'll be the chance for the Bulls to win. Take your winner. I like South Florida. Who do you like?
I like South Florida because I like them to really disrupt the BCS and be playing perhaps for a national championship. And so I'm going with the Bulls. Jim Levitz, the team continue to roll.
And I know your man Timmy B would be as thrilled as anything possible with that because he does not like the BCS. Spence, we will see you Saturday on the College Football Today.
All right, you're right. He likes those flies in the orange. We'll see you, Jason.
South Florida, the highest-ranked team to come to Piscataway since top-ranked Miami in 2002. They lost that game, but last year they beat then number 3 Louisville by a field goal. So this one right in between. See what happens Thursday night. Kickoff at 7:45 p.m. Eastern. And for more on this game or any other, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com and watch everything else on the CBS Audience Network. For Spencer Tillman, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.